Hey, Michael.
Hi.
Welcome to 4th Street Studio. So I hear you you started at 4th Street Fine Art in the studio, and in the mid 2000s you were selling pretty well, and then you stopped. What happened?
Around the early to mid 2000s, we had a real estate boom, and it seemed like everybody was selling well, but I didn't know it at the time. I I thought I was just a great artist, but eventually, we started getting into the recession,
Yeah.
and I wasn't selling his paintings as well. But so that contributed in my taking a break. However, the actual catalyst of me taking a break had to do with me getting married and starting a family. I have a daughter.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, her name's Haley Maya. She's 7, which means she was born around the same time that the recession was hitting.
Okay.
And I thought, what perfect time to take a break and take care of my family and see what I can do in reinventing my creative philosophies.
Great, great. And then I know you originally started back in those early years on a toy series, and now you've kind of moved to an urban inspired series. Can you tell us a little more about that?
One of the things that I did when I took a break was to kind of just step back and try to figure out what it is that I want to communicate to the world and express of myself. Making art, of course, is self-expression.
Yep.
And I wanted to see the best way that I could do that. And so when I finally figured out what I wanted to do, it had to do with creating a new series.
Okay.
Apart from doing the toys. And that's the urban inspired series that I have here.
Oh, great. And what's your process for making your art?
Well, it actually starts out with photography.
Okay.
Because of the new technology that we have now with smartphones, being that they're also cameras, I'm able to go around my day-to-day landscapes and just take snapshots, take pictures of images that inspire me, images that capture my attention, and hopefully I can incorporate into the artwork that I want to produce.
Okay.
And then what I do after that is I put them into a database. Whenever I have time, I rummage through the photos in the database. Anything that captures my attention from then on, I put into a computer program, Photoshop, and manipulate the photo, put it through different filters, and then have it ready for when I actually do the painting.
Great. And I noticed earlier you're kind of doing, canvas. How did you get the idea to move into the collage paintings?
The idea was actually just born out of necessity. I knew what I wanted to do, which was to incorporate different, seemingly fragmented images into one collage painting. And in order to do that, I needed to use other elements rather than just paint on canvas, which seemed very permanent to me.
Okay.
I wanted the ability to, number one, properly represent the surfaces that I saw that captured my attention, that being concrete,
Okay.
wood, metal, and use those for the painting. And then number two, to use newer materials, or I guess more innovative materials, to really represent the idea of these images being fragmented, being separate from each other,
Okay.
and then showing their unity into the finished work. And
Correct.
that's how I was able to go into this realm of mixed media.
Great. And I noticed in the background, a lot of these, you have kind of like graffiti tags. I mean, what's that all about?
Yeah, graffiti tags, of course they're all over, and we can't deny their existence in our urban landscape. And, it's something that I use whenever I feel like the artwork needs it.
Yeah.
But, the funny story about my my being inspired
Yeah.
by tagging was actually my commute to school from home when I was in junior high
Mm-hmm.
and through the early part of my high school. I had
Okay.
about a 2-hour commute from home
Yeah.
to and going back to school.
Sure.
And at that time, my parents weren't really gallery folks. They didn't take me to the gallery or art museums. And so I wasn't inspired by those types of environments. What I actually was inspired by was just the environment that I had during my commute. So
Mhm.
my eyes were always looking for something attractive to look at. And I was looking at the landscaping that was there, like the flowers on sidewalks, the little gardens that they had on the sidewalks,
Yeah.
the birds that were flying around, pretty girls that were walking around.
Can't go wrong there.
I can't go wrong there. Surfaces that I saw, concrete, again, metal, those types of things. And one of the things that always existed was graffiti.
Yeah.
I understand it's vandalism,
Sure.
and a lot of times it's all about marking territory,
Yeah.
but once in a while I'll see something that's like really beautiful, like in a in a way it's like calligraphy or
Yeah.
script writing that I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And so with this new series, I'm able to focus on that, the aesthetic part of tagging and how it is representative of our urban environment.
Great. And how did you come out this idea of putting the women in? They almost look like drawings.
Well, yeah, they're actually drawings. They actually start out as sketches on my sketch pad. My sketches are more of a process-oriented approach. It's just for me to practice my craft
Okay.
of representing certain images. And my favorite subject matter are girls, pretty girls.
Hey, why not?
Again, why not? And so I started doing it particularly because of Instagram. Instagram, has this great artistic culture of people sharing instantaneous work of art. And obviously I couldn't put paintings there because that meant I could only present my paintings as they were created, which is seldom.
Sure.
But with Instagram, it's a nice process to be able to post something on a weekly basis, and I started doing that. I started creating sketches of women, and I sketch different things too, like birds, butterflies. Again, things that I see in my immediate environment, and so my Instagram page is filled with those types of things.
Okay.
But because they are filled with those types of things, my followers started wondering, When I was going to incorporate them with my
Sure.
actual, painting, my actual artwork.
Yeah.
And that's when I started trying to figure out how to do it. And right now, what I figured out is actually just make printouts of the sketches.
Okay.
I print them onto clear decals
Yeah.
and adhere them onto acrylic sheets, and then as a fragment, I incorporate them with the paintings.
And I noticed also they're not really a 2D surface anymore. You got like magnets on there or something? What is that?
Right, it's a great discovery of mine. It stemmed out of necessity. I remember talking with someone about this problem that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because I used all these different elements to create the surface. The surface is often uneven,
Yeah.
and this uneven quality made it tough for me to either draw or paint images onto the surface because it just didn't seem clean.
Yeah.
And so an architect friend of mine suggested, well, why don't you use magnets and an acrylic sheet? Put the acrylic sheets on top of the paintings and paint on the acrylic sheets. And I said, hey, that's a great idea. And he showed me these little powerful magnets that I could use.
Yeah.
And the unintended benefit of that was to actually free me from this anxiety of whatever I made or put onto the surface was permanent. Because of the magnets, because of these different multiple surfaces that I painted on or drew on,
Yeah.
I was able to move them around the surface and temporarily just to see what was the best way to unify these fragments.
Yeah.
And that's how I fell in love with the magnets and the smooth surfaces on top of rough surfaces.
And where do you think this latest series fits into like the broader art world?
I always see art making and art showing, art exhibiting as self-expression, and that's sort of a common way of seeing art, right? Is self-expression through different means. There's dance, there's music, and there's painting, there's collaging, or visual arts, and I feel that if somebody was to really see art making as self-expression, it's very easy to create something unique, unique to themselves and unique to the world. And I try to hinge my creation of these artworks on that. And hopefully what I come to contribute to the art world is just my own voice. My own voice, my own tools
Yeah.
of representing that voice, and my philosophies, and hopefully just show the world in my own special way my interpretation of my immediate landscape.
And did you have any painters or artists that inspired you as you were, doing your work?
My number one influence for the toy series, which by the way I'm still making
Yeah.
on a commission basis and special projects, because people do love them, and I love making them, is actually Wayne Thiebaud. Another artist who's a contemporary of Wayne Thiebaud, Raymond Staprance, is another influence. And for the urban-inspired series, my two influences are Richard Diebenkorn
Okay.
who's a very figurative artist, and Jess, who's a collage artist.
Okay.
Jess in particular really gave me the permission to do what it is that I'm doing now. You know, I saw his artwork, and I was like, that's it. That's the language that I'm going to use to express myself. So I owe a lot to Jess.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you joined the studio again, and hope to see more work.
All right, thank you very much.